Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the talk show, the think show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the indigenous one. And when I say that we didn't come to America on the ship, what I'm saying is that America has always produced genius, always produced people who were clear thinkers, always that produced people who could see the difference between right and wrong. And today we have one of those people with us. This brother puts out some great work. If you ever look at him on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever social media, you will run into Safa Karuizms is what he puts out, and he puts out some fabulous work, taking the images and what our people did, and he takes it and bring it and interpret it in a way that is very instrumental to our youth getting what we're trying to put out. So I want to welcome Safa Karu to African Americans Ain't Africans. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing cool, man. I just got a chance. I want to get some shit cleared from the air, and you just the dude to do it. So I welcome you, and I want to talk about some things that we seeing that maybe you can help clear up, that make us look at things a different way.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. I'm here for
So,
that.
okay, cool, man. So the first thing I want to talk about, and the audience knows, we jumped right into it. We don't have time to play. The first thing I want to get into are the media distractions that are being thrust upon us. What can we expect from that, and what direction should we go, or how should we look at it?
Okay, well, specifically when it comes to the media distractions, we got to be very careful when we're dealing with things like, for example, what's going on now with like the whole Kobe Bryant situation. Um, I did a video before, right after that happened, telling people that they're not after the incident with Kobe, the death. There will be more to come because there's so much energy they're getting off of people by feeding into this and that and the conspiracies and all these different things. So right after he dies, here comes this story about this woman who's a newscaster. She's talking about, did she say the word nigger or did she say the word naker? Like it even matters. Like who cares? And so people got themselves tied up in all of that, gave their energy to that. And they just use it to make you upset, to control you, push you in a certain direction. Then later, we have this situation with Gail and Gail King. She's interviewing Lisa Leslie about the situation, and she again triggers Negroes again because Negroes are easy to get triggered these days. You just say anything about anything, and it triggers them both ways. You had I noticed you had, of course, a lot of the guys, they were upset about it, but then you had some of the women who follow the feminist group thing, and they were kind of, oh well, she was right, he was a rapist, and so even you're triggered when you feel like you got to respond with such animosity towards it in that way. So they know how to basically reach every audience. Why? Because essentially they created these audiences. The media moguls, the people behind these medias, they created the pro-black, they created the feminists, they created the pro-masculine altar, all these different altars they created. Therefore, they know exactly how to trigger each altar within you because you're operating out of your own space. So you got to be careful about feeding into all of this different media programming. I'm pretty sure they're not even done. They're gonna run this shit until they just can't run it no more. Because people, essentially, this world we live in, a world full of guppies, sheep. Whatever the media says do, they'll do. Even when you think you're rebelling against these people, you're not, because essentially they raise you. These people have spent more time with you than your own parents. They tell you how to think, when to think, why to think. They even tell you what it is thinking. You think sometimes you post something that sounds so educated, it sounds dumb as shit. They told you to think that. So you have to stop giving so much attention to the media. And by the media, I don't just mean the television. I mean these damn newspapers, these goddamn historical narratives in these books, everything. These people have just essentially programmed the shit out of you. And that just is what it is, A lot of people don't want to hear that because I guess to tell people that they're operating on, they're moving on autopilot, that's not a familiar thing that people want to hear. I mean, it's not a positive thing people want to hear, my bad, but it is
Why?
what it is.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we have such an aversion to being better? Why do you think we don't give a fuck? Why do you think doing the right thing to us always equals doing the wrong thing? What is that?
Well, a lot of it is too is program, and I will also say lack of culture. Like I try to show that we definitely have aspects of culture that still linger, but as an actual organized culture, we lack that. Therefore, we lack the protocols that mother would pass down to daughter, that father would pass down to son. That regardless of whatever else you dealing with, there is a culture to back you up. That's what all other foreigners bring with them. It's some sort of culture. Not all, not many groups from Europe, but some of the other groups they have culture, and we are severely lacking in that. That's actually what kept us afloat for many thousands of years. That's why we were so revered historically, because of our proud culture that so many people have diced up and taken with them and built up their own people with. We've given it away for liberalism, feminism, masculinism, pro LGBT, pro black, pro victim, pro this, pro that, whatever. You know what I mean? Nationality. I'm from Egypt. I'm from there. You know what I mean? Whatever the fuck. Like we've given away what we were to just be all these other things. Like the so-called American Negro has become obsessed with playing a character. You know what I mean? It's like want to be in a goddamn movie or something like that. I don't know.
Wow. Why? Oh man. Oh man. Oh. I mean, and it's when you put it like that, I mean, it just becomes it shows how ugly it really is. How, like you just said, we're trying to be all the. Can you imagine the energy that is expended for us trying to be everything but what we are?
Yeah, I mean, it's very sad when you think about it, because these are anybody that's a parent has had this conversation with their child, and I don't mean a teenager. I mean a child, 5, 6, 7. You have to explain to your child, hey, go be you. This is how you're best equipped. The creator created you to be you. When you put so much energy into trying to be something you're not, it always goes wrong. Be who you are. But it's a shame that we have to have this with a large community of adults. Like this is where we're at today. No matter how much people want to say king and queen and goddess and Ashe and Hotep and Halito and whatever the fuck else, you can say whatever you want to. But I'm just saying, like, this is where we're at.
Yeah, man. It's easy to put us in these different boxes, and we don't see that that's the separate of us. We're doing a program coming up about tribalism, how the Negro is taking this, trying to take this Indian thing and making themselves into tribes. You'll fail. This is why I say, look at how this stuff is, not how somebody is telling you that. And people tell you what indigenous people did, they don't even fucking know. They're just going to lead you somewhere, and you don't know where you're going. What are some of the ways that the media distracts us?
Well, the media, our media, is very reminiscent of the media that ran Germany, essentially ran by the same families of people. These guys deal with the occultism, and in the occult, what they do is they use different techniques of like ceremonial rituals in the media, where they set certain things up every year at a certain time, knowing when people are a little vulnerable spiritually, and they kind of just blast you with it all day. And if anyone knows anything about how to program someone mentally, repetition is one of the ways. You have repetition, you have trauma, and you have symbols. These three things you have to always be aware of when it comes from the media. Whenever they consistently repeat something to you, just think about this term: black, African American, you're from Africa, slavery. Just think. They've never really given you any real solid proof. They just continue to say it. And over the generations, it just has become reality for you. That's how this works. That's a very simple technique they use. And most people say, no, it don't matter how much somebody said to me. It's not, no, this is the way the mind works. I don't give a goddamn how smart you think you are. The mind it was programmed that way. It's just like if you ever been around a person and you keep telling your kid, like, hey, you ain't shit. Eventually that kid is going to feel like they ain't shit. It just, this is how it goes.
Right. Right. You're
So
absolutely right.
So this is a technique, you know, that they use. They use that. They also use symbology, and in this case, symbology would be again like buzzwords. Like for example, with the so-called white woman that was a newscaster that said "naker," "nigger," whatever she said. That it goes like this: whenever a so-called white person gets on television and says the word "nigger," about 10 million so-called blacks are going to get upset, and their blood pressure is going to go up because the word "nigger" serves as a symbol to trigger you. It don't matter if she said it, didn't say, it doesn't matter. If they show you a woman saying nigger, a white woman saying nigger, you're gonna get upset. If they show an image of a so-called white person in a movie beating some black dude with a whip, you're gonna get upset. If they have different ways to trigger you based on your programming. You pro blacks, they got you. You pro women groups, they got you. You pro men groups, they got you too. You pro gay groups, they got everybody has little symbols that they going to use to evoke certain emotions in you, and they have become masters with it. In the last, probably I would say last 35, 40 years, they've become gurus with this. So that is way. And also again, they use trauma, and everybody already knows how to use trauma against you. A lot of the trauma these days, I would say, is probably self-inflicted though, because a lot of people want to a lot of people want to feel connected to certain things. Therefore, they'll subject themselves to anything just to be a part of a conversation. It's sad. I see it all the time. People who've never even experienced anything. They live out in the middle of nowhere, in the boondocks, and never experienced nothing. They know about 20 people in their life, and yet they can tell you everything about black women. They can tell you everything about black men. They can tell you everything about white people. They can tell you everything about uh, what happened in Morocco in 1415. They can tell you, you know what I mean? It's like, uh, people, I don't know, the American Negro, there's some mental sickness these days with them. So like I said, they'll put themselves in the way of trauma just to be able to simulate an idea of whatever understanding or pain they think they can draw from.
You know what, that I think that's something that's never not talked about. And I notice with the African American community, a lot of stuff is kept from them. They're kept in a childlike mentality when talking about things. So, what are the things that you talk about, things that are important to us, should be the forefront of the conversation. It's never talked about. Is that part of the programming also?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, obviously, the media's job is to tell you what they want you to know and what they think that you should make a priority in your life. That's their only goal. Like when they go to another country, like for example, I have some coworkers that are from Laos, and they've been here for a while, but they're familiar with what happened in Vietnam when the United States went over there and did whatever they did to these guys. And of course, their story of what happened is totally different than the story that we got in the history books and on the History Channel and all of that. And it's gruesome. But again, they're not going to tell you that because the media job is to always paint you as put you in a certain perspective and put everything else as a certain perspective. So you can also see now how they painted these perspectives to those they were trying to use to go against us at a time. I'm not talking about recently. I'm talking about beforehand. Like as they come in here using different religions and all that. Like this is the enemy. The same way they promoted Germany as the enemy, the same way they promote Russia as the enemy in the 80s, and now again the same way they're going to. Remember in the 90s they were promoting Asians as the enemy. Then in the early 2000s, it was Muslims were the enemy, and so yeah, that, yeah, they have a very good, they have it down, a very good technique now to be able to get you to focus on what they want you to focus on and create enemies out of all of that and tell you what's good and tell you what's bad. Yeah, they're at that level now. They're at a really high level.
Let me ask you this, because this is something that we never talk about or bring up. So when you mention those wars, Vietnam, Korea, World War II, all these wars, normally those countries that the United States go to war with, normally those people sue the United States in world court and get some kind of compensation. We can see with the Koreans coming over to America. We can see it with the Vietnamese coming over to America. We can also see with the Arabs coming over to America. Do you think those people harbor ill feelings towards the Negro, American Negro, for going to those wars and helping destroy those places where those people come from?
In my opinion, based on dealing with those groups and just traveling around, I would say, if I had to give a general answer, I would say no. Just because I would say they look at the American as the American. That's for one. When it comes to that, when it comes to military, I guess not America as the country, but from the military situation. But based on my conversations with them, they would always say that, you know, the so-called Negro with them was pretty cool, and a lot of them ended up staying around, having children and things like this. And they, to me, I guess they always came off a little confused as to, because they dealt with, you know, they kind of deal with, this is the thing, they have this to deal with, like, for example, Laos or like Vietnam. These people not only dealt with America, but they also had a problem with like the French. So they had countries that come over, like European countries, where everybody was just European. So then they would notice, like, they kind of looked at America as a European nation, and they would ask, like, well, why, unlike France, and why are you Negroes joining them and whooping our ass, and then you go back home and get your ass whooped? I just don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make any sense. But this is like more like the feedback I received from them, and also with talking to them, you know, especially as they got, a lot of them from that generation got older, like 50, 60 years old. A lot of them look, and they understand now, like, you know, they understand the dynamic after living here, what's going on. So I wouldn't say they actually have an animosity as a whole towards the Negro. They probably do have some questions though, as to like, why would you assist these people who essentially whooped your ass? Why would you assist them in whooping other people's ass? Like, it's weird to them.
Yeah, that's a recurring theme that runs through the history of the indigenous people here. The people who dog you out, you serve them and have them put their foot on your head, and you're cool with that role. And
Yeah, yeah.
that's I mean, we can go through the history, and it's embarrassing, the history
Right,
of
absolutely.
what we have done to put ourselves in this situation. What about politics? What about the media? How they distract us? How is that used in the political system that we have now?
Okay, so before I even really get into politics, let me just say this. Like I said, I've been putting together research since about maybe 2012 or 13 on the topic, and I'm gonna have a documentary coming out on it soon and all that. I'm not gonna put too much about it out right now, but I'll leave it with this. Most of your big politicians, I mean, the ones you see on television all the time, the ones that become these big time players in these big major cities that deal with export import and deal with a lot of other big things that bring in like that bring in big revenue to these different states and stuff like that. A lot of these guys are so closely related, you wouldn't even believe it. Um, Basically, what you watch on television is just a puppet show for the little kids at home that want to watch, like how, you know, when you were a child you watch Sesame Street. That's essentially what that is. The president that they're going to pick has already been picked, and even if the guy they were going to pick gets into a car accident and the other person gets in, it doesn't even matter. Like, they're all the same. People who get caught up with all this, oh, you know, so-called Negroes used to be a Republican and Negro used to be that shit doesn't even matter. Like, what you talking about now is they've cornered the market. Like, they basically infiltrated all of that. It's not what it was in 1910 anymore. These people run every aspect of that now. It doesn't matter who's in there. The same family. It's a family that's in. It's not Democrats and Republicans and all of that. That's for show. That's, you know, that doesn't mean anything to these people. Do you really think of people who control this world could be that stupid to get caught up in, hey man, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, I can't fuck with you. I hate to say this, but only low level Negroes think like that. You know, like they really believe in this Republican versus Democrat shit. Like, there's none of that. I'm on this wing versus that wing. There's one wing. That's all. Everybody's in one wing, and all that separation shit is just so they can have people come in. They give you basically what they call the illusion of inclusion. Like, If I walk up to you and I give you 10 options and you choose one of the 10, you think you had a choice. You think you made a free choice, but you didn't. You just chose based on what we've given you. And that's what politics is. It's a family giving you options and you choose the option you think best suits you, but it's still their option. And it's not going to be any way they're going to offer you anything that does not benefit them. That's it.
So listen, I'm trying to get to the questions because people
All
say
right.
stuff because I wanna share with you what some people are saying. And we have this guy Martin Smith says, so if it doesn't matter, then why talk about it? According to you, it doesn't matter. So could you answer him? Why should we talk about this stuff, the media and stuff?
Well, I specifically talk about media in general, politics included, because these are just one of the venues that people will just dump an enormous amount of their energy into. Most of the younger people, not so much, but when you get to a certain age, you see a lot of people start to sit around the house all day looking at TV, waiting to see if Trump is going to get kicked out, waiting to see if this person is going to sprout up through the ranks, waiting to see if this guy is going to do this for New York, waiting to see if this girl is going to do this, waiting to see if this guy is going to pass this so we can get some free weed. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, so I talked about it just for the simple fact that a lot of people put their energy into it. I don't give a shit about it, but there are there are a lot of things that I don't care about that I see that our people, I don't know if they care about it, kind of like been coerced into caring about it or whatever like that. They've been told that it's in their best interest to worry about it, and so that's why I talk about it. I would just have to say, man, I mean, for everyone who's so invested in all of it, I'm just show me when and where voting for these politicians is going to free you from your state that you complain about all the time. This is not me complaining. All those that complain about how you're in a bad position, how you never recognized who you were, how you'll never get back to what you were, just explain to me how voting for these guys will change that. If you vote for the next guy, then the next guy, then the next guy, then mind you, all these guys are foreigners, so they don't give a fuck about you. So I just want to know how would voting for these guys, what does it do? It may get you a little bit of money on your retirement pension, something like that. Maybe you got better health insurance or something like that. But what does it do for you, those who identify as Indians, and those that feel as if voting for them is going to benefit them and under the Indian pretense?
Yeah, I've always said that you need your own political party that connects you and you'd win everything. But we don't strategize and we don't try to come up with ideas. We just stay stuck in the same old ruts, the same old ideologies that were put forth 200 years ago. We're trying to survive off of those ideologies, and people are coming from different backgrounds, different countries, different makeups, coming with a whole new way of thinking, and we're still stuck on those ideologies that never worked.
Right. You know, an older guy, some years ago gave me this great analogy one day. He said, back in the 80s, we used to go to parties and we would wear like the Kango hat, and the Kango hat and the sweatsuit. All the girls like that. Like if you went in the club with that, you were sure to leave with a couple of honeys that night. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he said, as time goes on, all of these things change. You have to evolve.
Right.
And the American Negro is walking into a party in 2020 with a Kango hat and a sweatsuit and Adidas.
And a what?
And Adidas, a
Right.
Kango with Adidas sweatsuit and Adidas tennis
Right.
shoes,
Right.
walking
Right.
up
Right.
to the prettiest thing in the party, talking about yo baby yo. It's like that's not going to work anymore, man. It's over.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah. So
So with the politicians, you say everybody is closely related.
yeah, all the ones that matter, all the ones that end up being presidents, all the ones that end up being major figures in these big cities and these big power player states, they're all related, and I mean closely related. Like probably more related than what people would even imagine. I think most people would think like, oh yeah, maybe a distant cousin. No, I don't mean distant cousin. I mean like close family. And
So this is tell me if this is what you mean by close. Okay, so I say the Bible is written by that cat King James.
Okay.
Isn't King James relative that cat who just got caught with Epstein with these trafficking these young girls?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that. Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah.
I can't verify, but that's what I heard. Yeah.
So these are King James people. This is how they are.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
in 2020, we still follow this. We
Right.
still
Right.
we're still into that.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that's what gets me about the American Negro. It never makes sense what you do, but you try to explain it like it does, and you just make yourself look more dumb as you do it.
Yeah. 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 They even told you a little bit, because they don't tell you much. They try their best not to really tell you much, but sometimes I think they're so comfortable in their position that they feel as if they can tell you anything they want to tell you, and it wouldn't really matter because you people are like so sleep and so fearful that you're not going to do shit about it, which is probably true. They could just come out right now and be like, "Hey, look, man, we rigged the election. It's gonna be we're gonna vote for whoever we want. That's gonna be the president, and ain't nothing you can do about it." And people will get on the internet and make some memes, and people will make jokes about it and laugh about it, and the pro blacks will get on there and they're gonna make their videos and and then 3 weeks from later it'll be back to normal, and it'll be just like when Vince McMahon told everybody that wrestling was fake. They made more money, so like, hey, you know, but when I say these people are related, I mean like first, second cousin related. Like,
Right, right.
uh, Queen, not the queen that's in now. I think her name is Victoria. If you look through her genealogy, she was like, I think cousins, like first cousins with the Tsar of Russia. And you ask yourself, like, damn, Russia's a nation all the way across the other side of the peninsula. How the hell is the guy that's the Tsar her first cousin? Like, you know what I mean? Like, damn.
Right.
Like, just letting you. So, do you really think that, regardless of what story they tell you about him being killed, if he ever was really killed, do you really believe that these guys just die and they don't put another one of them in that position? Fuck no, that's not how this works. You know,
So
if
hey,
we once,
Safa, let me share with you how we get it twisted. So as we're having this conversation, so this is what this guy took what I said. His name is Martin Smith.
yeah,
Check out what this cat said I said when I didn't say it. And this is how Negroes are always confused and bumbling and stumbling. Oh, that's what I thought you said. Check out what this idiot said. So Jeffrey Epstein is somehow connected to King James, while the stupidity of the pro-black never ends. First of all, we're not pro-black. That's where you got it wrong. Second of all, nobody said Jeffrey Epstein was connected to King James. So how did you get that? This is what I mean. How we take in information. You're totally off guard, and you're probably a teacher or principal somewhere. This is how we lose. We don't even know how to take in information.
yeah,
You just repeated something that wasn't said. And now you're in a thread while we're trying to give information to the people. Now you're in trying to confuse. Dude, I don't want to say what I have to say because I'm trying to be nice today since we have Safa with us. So yeah, man, the politicians are the tricksters.
yeah. The politicians, they just gonna do what's good for them. And quite frankly, that's what they should be doing, because these are a group of foreigners that are coming here trying to take advantage of something that was set up. It was set up a one way, but obviously they're going to use it as they should be trying to use it. Their objective should not be to try to save us. Our objective is to save us.
Right.
So again, that the actual solutions is not, especially if they're really good things. Like, we already know there's a more private form for that, because you just never know who can get access to what. But these type of interviews that bring awareness to what is the problem, because how everything starts is you have to be made aware of what the problem is. Then each individual, not black people as a whole, because that's never going to work. That's not, we didn't even get in this position as a whole. It happened to each person individually. Each individual has to take accountability and why they are where they are, and then they have to decide that this is going to stop, and they're really ready to make a change. At that point, then they join with others who are also willing to make that change, really willing to make that change, and then they put forth the effort behind the scenes. You don't have to publicize what you do or nothing like that. There's no award for any of this. But you have to be made aware of your shortcomings. And you get people who wanna try to bait you out and bring you, oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Don't worry, because if you on the internet trying to talk like that, I'm not gonna talk to you about what I'm gonna do anyway. So like whatever, like what are you gonna do? Whatever you gonna do, I wish you much success with it, brother. Like whatever it is you decide you want to do, go ahead and do that. But yeah, like we as people, we have to take accountability for the things in our life that are not necessarily going as they should, because we cannot blame women for our problems of any color. We cannot blame men of any color for our problems. We cannot blame uh, religion. We cannot blame our biggest problem, like anyone's biggest problem, is going to be you. What do you do? Like, what is your shortcoming? Like, what do you have to fix? I think the so-called American Negro dwells in victimology, and under that, he or she can blame everybody for everything. Every time there's a situation, look what these women out here doing. These women ain't shit. Every time, oh, look what these men doing. Men ain't shit. Black women ain't shit. White women ain't shit. Black men ain't shit. You know what I mean? Black women ain't. You know what I mean? Whatever. White man ain't shit. You know what I mean? Like it just gets to the point where it's like, dude, what are you, like a goddamn goldfish or something like that in a tank? Or what is that? Does your whole life depend on what everybody else is doing? If that's the case, man, like the fuck, man, go in the woods, man, and just jump in the creek right now, man. Because, like, what is going on? Like, we have to get out of this.
Why are we so intent on following people we should be leading?
Well, that's because the roles have been reversed, and with the programming, uh, we are now like basically in a position where we see other people as being superior to us. We don't think high of ourselves anymore. I saw an interview with the guy that played Bubba Gump one time, and he said that he went off to school, he came back home, and his mom had a picture of a white Jesus on the wall, and he was going to take it down and put a black Jesus up there, and his mom was like, looked at him vicious, like, don't you touch my Jesus. And it's only because, based on her programming, she had just always probably been taught that this was a sign of power, this is a sign of respect. And I'm not going to lie, regardless of what is said in a lot of communities, a lot of people around the world truly believe this. And they do. They really believe that the so-called white male, white female are the most intelligent, the most superior when it comes to many different aspects of life. And of course that's not true. But in the world we live in today, it would not be a lie to say that the ones that are put up on a prominent level, are them. So again, subconsciously, like I said earlier, with repetition, if you keep on promoting the idea that white people are smarter, that white people are stronger, that white people are in positions and white people own these businesses, and I mean, if you keep promoting that, eventually it just becomes a reality for everyone, and everyone accepts it. If you keep on, if you were to give people like Buddha, nobody's going to argue what color Buddha is. For many years they make Buddha a color or something, or Vishnu or whatever god from many different religions. You can make them green. If you give them to people for 30 years, eventually you'll be a green man. You give people a white Jesus for 30 years, you'll be a white Jesus. You just keep on pushing it, and eventually it'll stick. So I think because of that pushing, here we are today, where we've seen so-called white people in a way in a position of power, and we see them exhibiting themselves a certain way in the media and all these different prominent things attached to them. So they have become a sign of power for not just America, but probably throughout the world today. So that is why, because we subconsciously identify with the way of the world now, with the programming of the world.
What about this program they have out now, this matriarchal patriarchal ideology? What is that all about?
Okay, so the matriarchal and the patriarchal thing. First, let's be honest. I see so many so-called Indians or whatever hiding. I mean, attaching themselves into this and hiding behind their insecurities by trying to play this matriarch patriarch card. First of all, There is no matriarchy or patriarchy when it comes to America. Like I mean, as far as like the Indians, like that doesn't exist. Just because there's a woman in charge of something does not mean that it's matriarchal, and just because there's a man in charge of something doesn't mean there's patriarchal. There's a balanced system. The man or the woman is to carry out the system regardless. That's why I said again, when you have a culture, then you would understand that. But the so-called Negro didn't grow up with a culture, so he doesn't understand. All they think is one parent in the house being dominant, and that's how they identify all these different things. Most of these people, I will guarantee you, 95% of these people that are identified as Indians today didn't grow up with the real culture, so they don't know. They're trying to use European terms that were just introduced to them with Billie Jean King and the rest of those people, and they're trying to apply that to right now, and to try to apply that to people that were living years ago before Europeans even came here. Oh, these people is matriarch. These people is they don't even know. These people don't even know what that is. You talk. Oh, you matriarch. What is that? Oh, you patriarchal. What does that mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even think there's even a word for that in that language. Like, oh, you're matriarchal. Like, what? So people don't understand it. Like people say, oh, this is another misconception that most people don't have, and this is how you know a lot of people don't know anything about the culture. Most people say, "Oh, a woman, certain Indian tribes, they go through the woman, like the bloodline and stuff like that." Of course they do. You know what I mean? And again, this is not a shot at any woman. I'm just going to drop a little small understanding on you that everyone already even knows. When you're growing up, especially in the country, you hear the old ladies always say, "Mama's baby, daddy's maybe." That is essentially the same thing as the bloodline goes to the mama. That's what it is. That's the only way to truly track the child is through the mom, because that's the only parent that you know for sure is of the child. That's it. That's why the bloodline goes to the mom. It has nothing to do with matriarch and patriarch. That has nothing to do with that. You people need to talk to your elders and ask them the reason for that. It's not a long drawn conversation. It's no divine principle attached to that. It's just a very simple concept. So that's just what I'm saying. Like, obviously, you have to put the bloodline through the mom. Now, of course, that's it. And Hebrew stuff, I mean, I don't really want to get too much into that, but that's a whole different set of things. The way they, do their thing, but that don't have nothing to do with any tribe of people that I know. And I know a few different tribes of people in the southeast, in the Midwest, up north, and I don't know anything about a lot of the Hebrew stuff being connected to that. So essentially, we got a lot of groups like Moors, Hebrews, Hoteps trying to like put themselves, in what they'll say like, Egypt is America, Morocco is America, Israel, everywhere is goddamn America now. You know what I mean? So I don't fuck. You know what I mean? But so I wanted to say that when they talk about the bloodline thing. But again, this is not an attack on women or nothing like that. I'm just saying I think a lot of people ignorantly repeat that, oh, the bloodline goes to the mother. Yes, it does, and this is why it goes to the mother. That's why it goes to the woman. And but men and women, we got to stop attacking each other, and we got to stop making it seem like we are our own biggest problem. Quite frankly, we not even money is power. We're not even in the financial position to be each other's problem. For real, like seriously. Like as much as we complain about what welfare did to us, which it did completely like destroy us from the 60s on up. If we haven't even actually been together enough to be destroyed by one another. Like, come on, man. Like, really. And again, like I was told before by other people that are much older than me, if you find a man or a woman who does not serve your best interests and you choose to procreate with that individual, that is your fault. You have to take that hit. It's not a knock on men. It's not a knock on women, regardless of what the color they are. That's your problem. If you continue to date men or women that so-called ain't shit, then eventually I'm gonna have to think you ain't shit. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. Like there's plenty good women out here, plenty good men that want to love somebody and want to be a family and want to help out and and bring all these great things to a relationship. If you keep finding the bottom of the litter, then I just have to think maybe you're attracted to the bottom of the litter, or you're that, or you don't possess the right skills to be able to identify what is a good man or a good woman, at least for you. So let's just stop with all this victim and blaming everybody why you can't do what you need to do. Take responsibility and accountability for whatever it is in your life that you want to do. You see an issue, fix it and move on, man. Stop blaming other people. This shit is sad. Nobody ever respects a people that want to sit around and complain and guilt trip other people. Sit around blaming the white man for everything. They're going to keep shitting on you. Nobody respects you. Stop it.
You you brought up the liberal welfare system and how that was used to destroy. Could you give us an example of that?
Oh, say that again, Kerry. I didn't hear you.
The liberal welfare system.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, the liberal welfare system. So, and just to get on this liberal thing, so many Negroes today are liberal. So many, but the liberal welfare system came in the '60s, and from that you can look it up. I think in the '50s, most of our households were like 9 out of 10 of our households were double parent houses. And I think within 7 years of the implementation of the liberal welfare system, our houses have fell like 40% to the single parent one. And regardless if you want to be with the person or not, I think we all can agree the relationship dynamic between a man and a woman is not much different now than it's ever been. It's just the I don't give a fuck attitude towards the relationship that has changed. People back then tolerated more. They stayed with each other because they understood the benefits of staying together for the family and the continuance of the family. Today, people is like, oh, well, you know what? I don't want to be with this girl no more. I don't want to be with this nigga no more. Fuck him, fuck her, I'm gone. Fuck it, bye. You know what I mean? They don't understand the ramifications.
It looks like we lost Safa for a minute. So, I mean, I'm digging a conversation, and, basically what this brother's putting out and what this brother's saying is we have to change. See, nobody's changing. See, when people come over here, they're coming over here for a reason. They have a home. They have India. They have a place that they can go to. But where do you go? I know many people are packing up and rolling to Africa. You're going to see that doesn't work. You're seeing it now. So, Safa, you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. So you can pick up, man, where you left off. And
Yeah,
we were talking about the liberal welfare system.
yeah, and I was going to say, I encourage everyone to do research on the liberal welfare system, and everywhere that they've implemented that. They did it in East India, they did it in East London, and the studies show that everywhere they implemented it did the same thing. Whatever culture was there, whatever community was there, it completely eroded the community. The people after that suffered with extreme poverty, extreme violence, and just extreme carelessness towards each other. If you go to East London today, certain parts of East India, these are some of the worst places in the world. The same way they try to depict the communities that are here where we live. So that system is not based on color. Wherever it goes, it destroys. But we know already, again, when you try to get people in a certain when you try to rope people off and annex them in a position, and then you can isolate them and highlight them, or basically like highlight them and set them up for a certain system in a way, I guess you can target them that way. And again, East London, they don't have the population that we have here, different dynamics, different groups of people, so they just target themselves. Over here, we know who they target. They went after us. And this is where we're at now. So just study that system. A lot of people think that, it's okay to be on it and all that, but it was designed to destroy. You look at everywhere that has been implemented, it just destroys. That's what it does. And until we realize how significant we are, how important it is for us to reject anything that destroys us. Right now, we're like we're so in love with everything that's given to us. If it comes with a smile and comes with like a fucking handout, man. Like, you give us a hand. Oh yeah, if you don't have somebody in the house with you, your rent will be cheaper, and blah blah blah. It's all good. Then after those neighborhoods get so run down, they come in. They say they want to buy these neighborhoods up for cheap. Then you talk about gentrification.
I was going to ask you, how does that play into it? But you hit it. You hit the nail on the head.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Again, if you look up in East London, they did the same thing. They bring the system in, they run these properties down so low, then they come back in 30 years later and buy them up real nice, fix them up, and then they rent them out and charge people arm and a leg to live there, because that's the plan the whole time. But the thing is this: do you think you actually? Why do you think you should live on welfare for 30 years? Why should you? You think you're going to live like that? I mean, why don't you want anything better than that? You can't live in a projects on subsidized living for 35 years and pass that down as some sort of generational wealth to somebody. Yeah, when I die, I'm gonna sign this goddamn $250 apartment over to you, and you can just go down into the city and tell them, I'm leaving it to you. The fuck? What is this shit? You know what I mean? And then when they come in and it's like, oh, they trying to get rid of us. Man, you haven't, after all these years, you haven't aspired to do better than this shit? Come on, man. Like, and I posted this on my page the other day. It'd be these same ones who know every neighborhood all over America that kill niggas. You know what I mean? Killing blacks, so-called blacks, all over this country. Oh yeah, this neighborhood is bad. This city is bad. This state is bad. They can tell you all of that. And then when these people come in and sweep their neighborhoods up, the white man is the problem. The police is the problem. Gentrification is the problem. Why weren't you putting that same energy and that hope cleaning up your neighborhoods and telling these guys, hey man, let's try to do something different, instead of cheering this shit on you're a fucking cheerleader for this shit? And then when it goes bad, then they want to play the victim again. Let's play the victim again. I mean, that's what we're gonna go out here. We're gonna march and we're gonna gentrification and the white man trying to steal our stuff and the white man, what is this gonna do? We have to take accountability. We have to be more proactive, man. Look, and you got to clean your own neighborhoods up. We used to police our own neighborhoods. When you see people out there doing things they shouldn't do, take your ass out there and talk to them, man. Tell them, hey, look, man, this is your community too. In 10 years, you keep doing this shit, we ain't gonna be living here. What's so wrong? What's the problem with that?
So in going that, we just want to segue into the role of the male. You know how brothers have such a great influence on the community, whether they know it or not. How does the role of the male play into that?
Oh man, the role of the male is essential, because the male has always been that part of the house that everybody looks to for guidance. The mom is the nurturer, and the mom does a lot too. Don't get me wrong, I'm not isolating her, but just in conversations about this male, the male is the one that they always look to for guidance and wisdom. And if the male is walking around with his pants on the fucking floor, looking like he lost his mind, he doesn't have any wisdom to impart on his son except for, how to roll a blunt, you know what I mean? And what type of weed is about to come into the dispensary this week, and when the fucking new Jordans is coming out, and playing video games and shit like that. Like like this. Just take a look at this. I remember I got pictures of my grandfather when he was 29 years old, 28. I show people the picture. They say, "Damn, how old was he?" He looked like an old man, because the level of maturity for those guys at that time. By the time these guys were 29 years old, back in those days, they were like 49 mentally. Today, a 49-year-old is probably close to more like a 17, 18-year-old. And I mean that for both sexes. You know what I mean? There's not much development going on, which is why most of the people between probably the ages of 16 and probably 50, they're attracted to the same shit, listen to the same music, they dress the same, talk the goddamn same. It's like, what the hell is going on? This wasn't how it was when I was growing up.
Right.
I seen the differences between people in 5-year increments. Today, I can't see the difference between our people in 40-year increments. That's a problem.
Yeah, that pants sagging down, you would have thought that shit had passed on by now. Cuz, really?
Yeah, man, and I also, feel like this too. If there's anyone in the community, male or female, that does have like strong discernment skills to be able to basically everybody cannot be saved. We do know this. We all try to help somebody that wouldn't help themselves. But for all of those that have the discernment skills to be able to identify which individuals can be saved, please try to help people. I mean, it's not your worldly duty or nothing like that. But at the end of the day, if you really care about the community, you know, help others, you know, to the best of your ability. And you got to go to their house every day or nothing like that. But help however you can. You never know what kind of like your words can inspire people. There's many people that I look on Curry's videos and all. They say, "Damn, you know what, man? This all started when I saw a Curry Davis video 5 years ago, and shit just been going in different directions from there." Like people don't even realize when they do these interviews, these videos, when they post stuff on Facebook or whatever, how many lives you can actually inspire, how many lives you can change. Like you have to be willing to stand up for something, man, and try to push people in the right direction. So many of our people are so invested on promoting ignorance and silly shit that, you know, and it does not, how does it benefit you? What you getting, a laugh? Some attention? That's what we done resorted ourselves to? Like anything for a laugh?
Hey, do the right thing. Spike Lee did a movie called Do the Right Thing. You don't have to like the movie, you ain't whatever. But that sentiment was put out there. Do the right thing.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
That's all you have. I mean, it's that simple. Do the right thing. Let's get back to the media. Let's get back to that.
Okay.
A so-called indigenous media, something what just indigenous, you know, stuff that's pays attention to the indigenous people here of America. Do you think that's something that is viable or something that can be done along with also a political party, also stuff like that? Are those things are those things that we should be focused on?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, of course. I mean, if we're serious about making changes for our community, absolutely. Like I said again, I live in DC. I've got some youth that go to Howard University, and they're on board. They're ready to do whatever. I mean, do whatever. And they're into psychology. They're into phlebotomy. They're into many different studies up at Howard. And what I'm saying is nothing. You know, like these things are already being put in place, not on a very large level at this point, but at least, you know, in small steps. But if we all, you know, put our heads together, that should definitely be not even an issue. Especially the political party will be a little harder, and that's something that we definitely need to do. But when it comes to having our own media, meaning like some kind of news, like what Farrakhan them have, a newspaper, you know, a website where we can administer all type of information. I always said again, we don't have to, with all this stuff about 23andMe and all these different African ancestry tests, you do know that we actually could fund our own blood bank experiments where we can actually have people do the test to show our blood being the oldest blood in America. We can do that, and that could be the end to all of this goddamn arguing with people about take the African ancestry test. We don't have to argue. I mean, we shouldn't be arguing with these people anyway, but we can put forth our own experiments, our own information, and crowdfund to show whatever it is we want to show. We put our money towards anything else. People have been putting their money towards a school that's not around yet. I mean, I don't know if it's coming or not, but it ain't yet. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, and all this time, it doesn't even take millions of dollars to even get this money for experiments. This is nothing. Well, we can easily do this. They say that we have this large spending power right here in America. What are we spending it on? Fucking Jordan sneakers? Come on, man. Like we have to take what we have at our expense and use it to benefit ourselves. We not use it to dress up our insecurities. Not fucking buying a fucking brand new Audi and fucking diamond bracelets. And I'm not knocking nobody. Do what you want. I don't care. But I'm just saying let's try to promote to our people that using the money to benefit us is better. You know what I mean? Or at least taking your money and using it to benefit something that you see fit. I'm not going to tell you that you should be doing something for somebody else, because a lot of people say, you know, it's my money or whatever. You know, just if it matters to you, I'll put it that way. If it matters to you as an individual to make a change on something and promote your own, then take your money and put your money to promote your own.
I can do what I want to with my money, nigga. This is my money.
Right. And, you know, and I don't want to come off, you know, making it seem like I'm trying to tell nobody, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we all got to be holding hands, everybody. You know, I'm not going to get into all that. You know what I mean? Like, do what you want to do. But if it matters to you, then I think that there's definitely a means to, you know, for a remedy for all of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, we can easily change this.
Right.
Easily.
You're right.
We have to, a shift in priorities is number one. Obviously, stop promoting all this dumb shit. I don't give a fuck what celebrity is gay. I don't care. I don't care what celebrity is sleeping with another celebrity. I don't care what celebrity is a man or a woman. I don't give a shit about all that. Who cares? Them people, like, none of them people ain't in my bedrooms. I don't care, and I know they ain't in none of y'all niggas' bedrooms either. So at the end of the day, why are we so infatuated with this shit?
I think it just shows how boring our lives are and how much we're not doing and how we'll just fall for anything. I mean, because we're definitely not doing no thinking. We're definitely not pondering shit.
You're right, man. Maybe we are bored, and you sit at home and you get bored. You start wondering, like, you know what? I don't like that. Oprah Winfrey is dating so and so. I'm gonna make a post about this. And I'm gonna put some words in it that trigger other Negroes, like women, men, and black and the 70s, and that's what I'm gonna do. It's like, what the fuck? Like, come on, man. Like, there has to be more. Like, come on, like. And listen, I say this, like, I poke a lot of fun at a lot of people in the community, just be joking and stuff like that. But I gotta say, our community is full of bright people, like many young men, young women, all the way of different ages. Man, we got a really bright community. But our focus, man, is completely off, man.
Hey, you're absolutely right. I agree. I agree with you 100%. You got some. I see them. And babies.
Yeah.
Babies. You got some babies around here that ain't playing. And so there should be systems and ways to develop that into something greater. That's all.
Right. I agree.
So the last thing I want to hit on is this victimology ideology that we always mired in. Could you talk about that victimology for a minute?
Yes. Okay. So the religion of the Negro in 2020 is victimology. That and so-called wokeism, which is some pro-black and that type shit, Hotepi, and all of that weirdo stuff, you know what I mean? But most of it is rooted in victimology, where you feel as if you have to find someone to blame for your problems. Now, again, I had this conversation the other day. People will say that America was a great nation, and on most accounts from foreigners all across the world, they all agree that America was a great nation. But when you really think about it, you realize that so-called whites or whoever came here, whatever, they couldn't come like 20,000 at one time. So they were not super large numbers at the time. So the question is, when they come and they take over and they implement whatever they do to take over, if you're so great and so strong, how are they able to take over you? You have to take responsibility for where you allowed this blunder. There's no way 50 or even 1,000 white people could have just come over here and did all this. This is a landmass of millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Like, it's impossible. Like, so like I said, every empire that crumbles, it crumbles from the inside first. So again, or not even telling, like, again, that's for another conversation. But it's not like these people were working alone. They had people that were here working and helping as well. Even in Europe, our people were in Europe helping. People that were living in the islands going to Europe and helping. Because everything that people think about the so-called European coming here, they weren't at the brain of every operation that sent people to America, regardless of what you may think. Okay, it wasn't no Moors and nothing like that. I'm talking about the Americans were operating. Some of the Americans were in different places, and they were operating that way. So that's for another conversation. But again, in this victimology thing, we blame a lot of other people instead of blaming ourselves. There is, unless you're going to tell me it was just your community had 10 people and that's all your community ever was 10 people, and then you just came over, got trumped over by some army. Yeah, you can, okay. But our situation is much different. Our culture was revered by the world. The world still practices many aspects of our culture. I try to show that all the time. So, and they're still doing it today. They're still copying everything from us. They're still trying to be us without being us and all that. So in a way, that's kind of admitting who they know us to be. So from that perspective, we need to understand, like, even at what we'll call a low time for us, we still have the ability to be so much more prominent than what we are. We need to get up out of this funk, blaming the white man. Okay, you could say the white man did whatever he did, but the point is continuing to blame him. Show me how that is going to, like, how does that evolve into anything proactive for you? Because blaming him is one thing, but what does that get you? Because for me, I'm gonna tell you what I've seen is the blaming the white man. All it has done is 30 years later, you're still blaming the white man. So if someone could show me where blaming somebody else led to us doing something for ourselves, I would say, shit, yeah, blame everybody. Maybe you niggas will do something for yourself. But now all I hear is the white man is, and this man is, and that man is. Okay, we know who's done everything. Now what are you gonna do? You gonna sit there on the side of the corner? Oh yeah, I'm just selling these drugs because the white man put them in my neighborhood. If he ain't put them in my neighborhood, I would never sold them. What the fuck is going on here? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that victimology, man. It's sickening. We just think that all we just do is just sit and wallow and mire in mediocrity is crazy.
Yeah, man. It's like I know our people, and too, the generation that's before you, that generation is the generation my grandparents were in. That generation, they did not wallow like that. They just didn't get down like that. They, everybody says this. They always say, like, from that generation, oh yeah, we grew up poor. We didn't know we were poor. Because the parents, they didn't carry that type of energy. It wasn't no, oh, we struggling, we poor, we ain't got it like that. Today, that's all. You know what I mean? You hear these young, oh man, I came from nothing, man. I had nothing. Everybody was so-called struggling, if you want to use that word, but you don't know, because you have to change your mindset. You want to change the world, you got to change the way you think about the world, first of all, man. This sitting around, I'm not rich, and the reason why I'm not rich is because the white man. I see him on TV, and he had the Oscars, and he had the Grand Ball, and at the Walker Stars, and it is, and this, and I'm sitting here, and shit, and it's the white man's fault for this. Come on, man, like that shit is not gonna fucking fly, man. It's not. You teach your kids that shit, they grow up and they do the same goddamn thing. End up in jail, come out, man. You know what, man? The reason I ain't gonna lie, the reason why I did all this because the white man, I ain't had no opportunities. Come on, man. Like, we got to make sure our kids understand that what happens in our life is dependent solely on us. Can't tell your kids that Africans are the problem, that whites are the problem, that Chinese is the problem, and you just cannot tell them that. You can make them aware that they are in a competitive environment, because they are, and that there are individuals bringing other people here to try to effectively replace you in the working market. But you can also introduce them to the concept that we have a very large spending capital in this country, and we can create our own jobs. So we don't have to actually be competing with people to work in the so-called European controlled work market when we can create our own work markets. All other foreigners seem to get that, especially the East Indians. They are creating their own markets. For some reason with us, we're mad that the so-called white group did not leave a certain amount of jobs for us. Again, victim, begging. No one's going to respect you. What are you going to do for you? You have to do it.
And and this is what I mean about connecting yourselves back to the land. This is your land. If you go back and look on the money in the 1800s, you're on the money and you're cultivating the land, especially in places in the South that haven't developed economically like they should. Because when you get to the politics in the South, it's like archaic. And the Negroes, who are the majority of people down here, they don't open their mouth to say nothing.
Yeah.
There's all kind of industries that should be opened up for the American Indian down here in the South, but we refuse to, we refuse to get into it. And so those are one of the things that he's saying, that victimology ideology keeps us in where we can't do nothing. We don't know what to do. Huh? I didn't know. We that's all we talk about. And that's the victimology that I think I hear you're talking about, Safa.
Right. And I'm reading the comments now, and I see the one guy, Martin Smith. He says, "But why are we not creating our markets? Because we are looking to be helped instead of helping." Yeah, and that's basically so. Okay, he made a good point there. I don't know what he was trolling earlier, but yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the problem is, again, we want other people to do it for us. But this is the problem that we must, the situation we must understand. If you let other people create your opportunities, guess what? When you get up to where you think you should be, guess who's going to take credit for that? They are. So our people are prideful people. They've always been. Foreigners wrote about that many, many years ago. Like, and you already know just by looking around, we've always been a real proud people. Create your own opportunities, man. Don't wait on nobody. Get up off your ass and create these, because the opportunities are plentiful. Like you said earlier, man, you got people coming from all these different countries that you read about in books that are supposed to be so great. They got so many minerals, the motherland, the brotherland, the cousin land. They're coming over here and they leave, they starting their families here. They developing an economic floor here. And they're doing so much for their little communities here. So again, like, this is the issue that we're confronted with. What are we going to do for us? We can't sit around and wait on nobody to do nothing for us. And if they don't want to do nothing for us, it's not their fault. It's your fault for expecting them to. They are not you. They are not your family. They owe you nothing. Their whole objective when they came here was to get you out of the way. I don't know where in the world you got your signals crossed thinking that this foreigner's job is to give a shit about you because of who you are. If you went to his land, you would do the same thing. That's just how it goes. You know, your objective is not to go. It's not for these guys and all the stuff you read about them. Wherever they go, they do, you know, all type of heinous shit. They're not coming to America to be like, you know what, brother, man, I like you, brother, man. You know, I'm here. I'm gonna take over, but I'm gonna give you some of what I'm doing, and we can split this, you know, brother. Just, you know, what I don't understand. It's like we just, like, do we understand what's going on? Are we, our heads so buried in the fucking television and celebrityism and victimism that we don't understand what the hell is going on?
Well, what do you think the real reason why we're not getting it? I mean, because to me it's simple.
Well, again, I mean, the main thing that probably hold everybody back is distractions. Distractions lead to a lack of focus. Just like a child in school. Everybody got children, you know, the parent, teacher them call before and say, you know, your kid not paying attention. So yeah, you know, the distractions lead to a lack of focus, and a lack of focus leads to a lack of priority, or basically a misappropriation of priority. So these things, that's how it starts. They distract you with things that are not important. Eventually you become so infatuated with this, and then you have to sacrifice that. So just like with us, when we were segregated, we left behind our independence to be a part of this whole American dream bullshit. And now look what it's done for us. We've become completely reliant. We lost damn near all our businesses. A lot of our spending power today, outside of the actual communities, but a lot of our spending power as far as like the moguls would be like the big time sports guys and all of that. A lot of their money is tied up with other big foreign corporations. So it's not as if when people say, why can't LeBron do this? LeBron's money is tied up with people who wouldn't even spit on you if you were on fire. So like, don't worry about LeBron doing anything. Like, that's not, don't even expect that. And again, stop looking for handouts. That's not LeBron's job. It's your job. LeBron is not your kid's father. He's not your father. You know, and this is another thing. People say, oh, LeBron should help take down the system. The system is the very reason why LeBron is a rich man. If LeBron takes down the system, LeBron is going to be on the same level with me and you. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, man. LeBron's worth millions of dollars. These millions of dollars exist within this matrix. If you were to destroy this, why would he? How does he benefit from that? To be on the same level with you? I don't think so. You can't even ask a man to do that because not too many men or women are going to do that. That's just it's unreal. So get that out your head. Don't worry about asking these people for handouts. We as people can get together behind the scenes and we can do whatever it is we want to do. We want to get a political party? That's not a problem. They've done it. We can do it. You want to create a media platform? We can do it. We have to support each other. You want to create a clothing line? We can do it. Again, we're going to have to stop letting rappers tell us, to wear certain clothes because a lot of people, that's what they want to dress like rappers and movie stars. But if we can get beyond, basically, if we can get beyond allowing foreigners to use like prop characters like athletes, rappers, and other people that people in our community hold at a high regard, if we can get beyond letting people use them as a way to manipulate us and get us to behave, talk, and dress and act and think a certain way, then we'll be just fine. We just have to understand that we have to have each other's best interest. Don't worry about no rappers or none of these other people. This is just us for us. Malcolm X said it best. There is no other people in the world that look for their inspiration from a goddamn entertainer. Only us. We be out here, yeah, man, like looking for inspiration from Dick Gregory, looking for inspiration from this man, this person. This man's job is to tell jokes and make people laugh. Why are you seeking political advice from him? Why are you seeking community advice from a movie star? What's wrong with you? Who does this? Why are you seeking, political advice from a dude's job? His job is to slam dunk a basketball, catch a football. He's not where he is because he was a political strategist. He's where he is because he can catch a ball. We have to get out of that stuff, man.
So, Safa, in closing, what do you want to say? What do you want to see? This is we're coming up onto the new year in the spring.
Yeah.
We're coming up to the new year. What are some of the things you can share that will help the people moving into the spring and summer months?
Well, like I was saying earlier, I have those documentaries coming, but as far as what I can share to help people, again, anybody who's interested in helping with a indigenous like media platform, you can contact me on my email. It's Safa Karu, SAFAKARU @gmail, and we can get the ball rolling because I already have some people on board. And like I said, we won't even be discussing money or anything like that as of right now. Just kind of getting together some brainstorming on what it is that we feel as if we feel in the community it needs to be shared with everyone. So things like this, the political party stuff, that's needed too, but that's something we can do for another time. But at least start with that. Let's start with something we know that we actually can accomplish like pretty quickly. If that's a success, which I know it will be, from that point on, I don't think people really truly realize like the shift in influence sphere we have. Like if we actually develop our own media platform, like we can go to another level never seen before by any other group that comes out of our community. Like all these other groups, if you pay attention, they're trying to drag us into these spheres with them so that people can see us as a movement. When we have, like, we're connected to this land by blood. This is genealogy, not ideology. So this is where we differ from all the rest of these guys with their beliefs. Like, we don't want to get dragged in and lose ourselves with trying to have debates and arguments about people who like strictly rely on beliefs. What we need to do is believe in one another. And like I said, we can create these different platforms for ourselves, by ourselves, and then we can go out here and, like I said again, for the new year and for further, we can continue to promote our own things. Like I said again, I'm willing to work with anybody that's willing to get these type of things done. I listed my email already, or you can contact me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever like that. We can create some groups, trade some numbers and stuff like that. But I think it's really actually time to get the ball rolling in that area. Like, let's try to start somewhere where we know we can work from, and from that point on, after we, make some leeway, then we can make other decisions too. Because I got some buddies in real estate, I got some people in different fields, and the upper media fields also. So we can essentially do what every other foreign group does, which is what we should have done. We can capitalize on the market, and we can revolutionize, because that's all we've ever done. Like, if you think about it, in this country, everything that people are doing, they kind of stealing from us. We just leaving it at a very urban level where we can take it big and we can do whatever we want to do. So that's what I'll say. Like I said, contact my email or through there, or you can contact Carrie. Carrie will contact me, or we can, however y'all want to do it. But we need to start definitely with a media platform, a big one.
Let me ask you this, because I thought about that. And would you come at it in a way like, okay, so they have the TV where you can buy the antenna for $20 and hook it up to your TV and you get all these channels. Would you do it that way, or would you do it internet fire stick kind of way? What do you think would be the best way to do it?
I wouldn't do it not the fire stick way, but I definitely would do it like property, like how they do, like with the like a monthly subscription thing or something like that, or maybe not even monthly, maybe like a quarterly subscription, or maybe like once every, like, something like that. I'm talking about once the ball gets going. I mean, obviously we're gonna need donations at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because because the experiments, again, like I said, it's not millions of dollars or anything, but it's not $10. So
right.
Yeah, we're gonna need some the good donations up front. But before we even ask like for money, obviously what we'll do is we have to get together a whole portfolio of information. We have to present to the people, what is it that you want to be shown? What experiments do you want done? What kind of information do you want? And from that, we can determine what it is that we even feel like that we need to invest money into. It's not just like, hey, just give us your money. It's not going to be anything like that. We need to find out what exactly it is that we feel like will be significant to us as a community. And with that media platform, that allows all the good brothers and sisters out there that have their own businesses and that have opportunity for employment for people in their relative region to be able to send messages through there. Hey, listen, we got work here. We got work here. Hey, we trying to buy a property here. Anybody else that's interested in buying property in, say, Muskegon County, holler at me. If you're gonna be over here, I'm gonna be in LA County. Like we can use it so many different ways. We don't have to worry about Facebook monitoring us or Instagram shutting us down or whatever like that. We got our own way to communicate and promote and do what we want. And but we can work it like some type of subscription thing, maybe like quarterly or monthly. It ain't got to really be a whole bunch. Because once the ball gets rolling, I feel like our people. One thing I say about our people, they put money into what they like and what they want to put money into. And I think if they felt like it was something that was really significant for the community, I'm pretty sure they want to have no problem donating some nice money to these type of things, because these things lead to more opportunities for our people. So I think the monthly thing probably would be better, or quarterly, something like that.
Cool. Well, brother, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you for coming on, sharing with us today. It's always good to have fresh thoughts running through ideas coming from people who cultivate those ideas, and I really, really appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate for coming on, sharing with us today.
Oh man, anytime, girl, anytime. I appreciate it having me on, man.
Cool, man. And this ends another edition of African Americans Ain't African. Go check Safa out. He gave out his email. Yo, man, could you give out that email once again?
Yeah, the email is safakaru@gmail. That's SAFAKARU @gmail. I'm on Facebook by the same name, and on Instagram I'm under at Karuizm, KARUIZM with an underscore after the M.
You guys go over there and check that brother out and support him in any way, because these are the people. It's like he said earlier, we don't have anything. We have to build. But in order to build, we need help in the building, and we can't do it all ourselves. And it's much faster, and it helps us a lot if we can get into this, because if we have our own, can you imagine if we have our own media conglomerate? The information, the everything you need is already there. It's going to keep coming. So this is why we need to build our own things and look out for ourselves, because following the way the African American does it is not going to get you there. You can already see where it's going. So thank you guys for joining us today. We'll be back. All right, peace.
Peace.